Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here. Can you please introduce yourselves? Anass?
Yes, hello, my name is Anass.
Hello, my name is Cristobal. Hello, my name is Kevin.
Okay. Do I have all of your consent to record?
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Anass, I don't have your consent to video record, correct?
correct.
Okay. So, Kevin, I'd just like to quickly go ahead and ask you what happened to you, because you're here because of a sparring injury. So you are currently concussed right now, correct?
I sure am.
Okay, so can you explain a little about that?
Well, first things first, I gotta say.
Can you come closer so we can hear
Yeah,
you?
for sure. First things first, I'd like to say what the guy did was illegal, an illegal blow. That's what that was.
What?
It was illegal. No.
What
He
is,
punched me.
to
So-
clarify, what is an illegal blow?
Anywhere back here is illegal, right? Anywhere in the temple, the forehead, that's legal,
Okay.
right? And so what was going on is he was a bit of a new timer. So I would jab him and then slip out.
Okay.
And he didn't have enough time to just like try to hook something. So he just waited to back me down in the corner.
Okay.
And when he backed me down to the corner, he would just throw wild swings. He'd throw
Okay.
two wild swings, missed.
Okay.
Then the last one, I
Uh-huh.
was slipping under while I was down here.
Okay.
Full force, he punched me right here.
Okay. So you're concussed right now.
I think so.
Okay. No, you think, or you went to a doctor?
I went to the doctors. They said I'm concussed.
Okay. So let's start from the very beginning. I'm gonna ask all of you these questions. What initially drew each of you to sparring or martial arts? Was there a specific experience, person, or event that made you decide to give it a try?
Can I go?
You can go, yeah.
Yeah, there was like two people specifically.
Okay.
There's this guy from Morocco. What's that guy's name? Adam. Yeah, that guy. He really pissed me off one day. He smacked the back of my neck.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. If he ever does that again, I will beat him.
Okay. And who was the second person?
It was Anass.
Anass sparked you. And isn't it true that you guys all meet on Sundays to go sparring from 12 to 5 or something?
Everyone except Adam. Adam is stuck in the fade, but
Okay. And what about you, Anas? What drove you to sparring or martial arts?
So first things first, we need to understand that martial arts is a discipline
Okay.
that needs to be learned, whether the easy way or the hard way.
Uh-huh.
And I believe that every man should learn and be disciplined towards a type of sport or be dedicated towards a journey, so he can actually learn from it and grow out of it and do what he's supposed to do. And
Mhm.
part of it is actually learning how to fight and defend himself and defend the people around him that he loves. Because if you cannot and you're not able to defend the people who are around you, so your love technically does not hold any value. Even though you say you love them with all of your heart, at the end of the day, you cannot prove your love unless you're actually valuable and you bring something to the table.
So you
And-
feel that if you can't defend the people around you, you don't truly love them as a man.
Exactly,
yeah.
because it is part of your duties to actually fight for them and fight for yourself as a human being. And at the end of the day, whether you have a family or not, you will always have a last name and a duty to actually defend and basically uphold your last name
Mhm.
and prove something towards it. So there's basically a lot of aspects to it, but this is the only small part that I believe is true and I completely add to my life. And one of the things that actually made me go into martial arts is before I've never worked out before,
Mhm.
you know. I was the complete opposite of a person who I am today. So basically I started just by lifting weights,
Mhm.
you know, trying to become a better version of myself,
Mhm.
better physique, getting stronger.
Was this due to what you believe right now, or was it because you wanted to be healthier?
I wanted to become stronger than the
Mhm.
previous version that I was.
Mhm.
I considered myself weak back at the time,
Yeah.
And as there is a famous quote that goes around, and it says, "There's no shame in being weak. The shame is in staying weak." So every time I wake up or every day, sometimes I get out of bed, I remember that quote and it just pushes me to go harder. So going back to what I was saying, I started by going off to the gym, getting stronger, better, healthier, sexier. So it is part of the attraction as well that fulfills the ego of a man. And moving on to the next topic, which brings me up to the basically what pushed me to do martial arts is that no matter how strong or big I look, I cannot defend myself or the people who I love. So I need to go and practice a type of martial arts, no matter what it is, whether it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, Kung Fu, whatever it is, I need to practice something. So I started off with training. The first year and a half, I spent training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here in Boston. Great community. I loved it. One of my best experiences. And then I decided to actually switch off to Muay Thai. And Muay Thai is a brutal kind of type of kickboxing martial art. And basically, the reason why I did that switch is that, first of all, I noticed my weakness in the ground. I was like, I don't know how to grapple. I don't know how to defend myself. Yeah, if I hit the ground or the concrete, I don't know what to do next. So I decided to do that. Then I was like, okay, I know the basics. Let's move on to something other than that, which is basically striking on both of your feet. So yeah, so at the end of the day, it's been a journey where there's a lot of emotions involved to it. You learn how to be disciplined. You learn to push yourself. You learn to enjoy and embrace the pain. And it is encircled by a word that I like to call obsession. And I do not believe in talent. I know talent exists and a lot of people are talented, but I believe in sheer will and indefatigability that actually makes a lot of things happen and become true. So yeah.
Thank you. And what about you, Cristobal?
I completely agree with Ana's point of view on discipline, and that every man should have a discipline. I used to go to the gym. However, when I felt that I wasn't developing any new skills that would be useful and extend to other parts of my life, and also seeing Kev's Instagram posts, I decided that I also want to try Muay Thai. And even though I've been doing it for the shortest amount of time compared to these two guys, I also think it's a really good sport. It's a really good way to build friendships. I do not support violence, of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do
me too.
think that it's necessary to defend your family, your woman,
Yourself.
and I think that's enough reason to want to engage in martial arts of some sort.
What situation would you use the skills you've developed?
Punch Kevin in the face.
Yeah, for
Sure.
sparring.
Revenge from Keven.
Revenge.
Yes,
Yeah,
because you brought up that this boy hit you
Yeah.
and you wanted to get him back, per se.
Not hurt him, but horribly. I mean, I know he felt horrible for what he did. He felt bad. He kept saying sorry. It was an accident.
Okay, so what situations would you use the skills that you've learned?
Well, frankly, the key point, at least in my eyes, for Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and boxing is that you won't need to use it. I try to put myself in situations where even if I have to, I make sure that's my last hope, my last hope. I don't want to hurt anyone. But if I'm pushed, or let's say you were pushed, right? Someone was hurting you, then I would do my best to push them away. And if not, I would use the skills that I've learned in the gym there.
Because you say you would all agree that violence is never the answer.
Never
Never the first answer.
Never the first answer.
Yes.
Yeah, adding on to that, I believe that war is not the first answer, but in order in order to show off that there is the idea of peace, you should show that war is a source of hopefulness. So, for
Is a
example,
source of, excuse me?
hopefulness. Would you like me to elaborate on
Explain,
that?
yeah.
Sure. So basically, let's say you have your own territory and you're getting attacked from a different territory, basically.
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to remain in that territory and to gain it, or to just protect yourself at least,
Mm-hmm.
obviously violence is not the first option. But what I'm saying is you gotta show off your fangs, and you gotta show off that you also have a weapon, you know, that you possess in order for the peace to be established in both territories,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's a way of self-defense that can be played in both ways. It really depends on the way how you see it and what perspective you have
Okay.
on it, you know?
I think it's all summed up. There's a Chinese proverb that says it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a warrior.
Sansetsu.
Can you say that
Than a
again?
gardener. Okay, so it's best to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Because you have to accept that eventually, at some point, peace will be disturbed, and then you have to be ready
Mm-hmm.
for whatever comes your way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a very good quote. I love that. I would like to move on to the next question. Reflecting on your journey, what do you believe the most significant change in your attitude towards sparring from when your first time started to now is? Or versus, I know Cristobal, I'd like to start with Cristobal. So I know you just started, but do you think you want to continue? Or do you think, like, what have you learned over the discipline, the respect? Like, do you want your wife to learn self-defense? Do you want your mother? Do you want all the women in your life to learn? Like, because sometimes you're not going to be there
Of course.
when something happens. Like, what have you learned or
First-
taken away?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe in most situations, the best thing you can do is run away. So I also had, I took a bunch of parkour lessons, so I know how to run away. I would encourage females also to learn martial arts. My girlfriend actually wanted to learn Muay Thai before, and just because I wanted to get ahead of her, I decided to start training myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the first time I sparred, when I got punched in the nose and I drank my own blood, no better feeling than that.
It's really weird.
It's
but it
it's
feels
really
so
cool
good.
though.
It does.
I always wanted to be punched in the face
You always, why?
because
It's just
I engaged in violence a couple of times and I was never punched in the face.
When did you?
Back in high school when I used to have a bad temperament. But
Oh, so like you'd get beat up or you would beat up?
I wouldn't beat up. I would give warning shots.
Okay.
real, so real.
And I mean, I was like now I'm one of the oldest people, so I'm used to people respecting me more.
Uh-huh.
And back then, you know, people would just try to get a reaction out of you,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happened a couple of times.
Real.
But I do expect to learn things that I will not need to use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to be in that situation.
Me neither.
And what about you?
Yeah, I was gonna push forward. I think it's the camaraderie. When I first started, I guess Muay Thai in December, I thought, if I have to spar, I have to like fight to like the death, give it everything. And then I noticed how playful it is and how intimate it can get. I
Mhm.
guess I
What do you
feel,
mean by intimate? Yeah,
I
even
feel-
Cristobal had a reaction to that.
yeah, like I feel closer to everyone I spar with. I have a lot more trust with them than anyone else that I
That
don't.
was my stomach, but like, yeah.
No, like I just feel like I trust you.
No, I agree.
Yeah, right?
I understand that.
Okay.
Yeah, like you got in the ring with me, knowing full blood and well there can be accidents where something horrible can happen, like the accident I got, and you decide you want to do this. That's respect. That's nothing but respect. And if you land a clean blow, you land a clean blow, and I'm gonna do it the same way.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't think I really want my family to learn it. I don't think they would want to. I'd love to teach. I love to teach. I've taught you. I've taught you. I've taught Johan. I've taught fucking Amir. I've taught a lot of people. I enjoy teaching and having other people to practice the thing that I
Yeah,
love.
you've brought a lot of people to that
A
area.
lot of people.
Yeah, you've brought a lot of people to that.
It's a brotherhood.
It's really good. It's such a camaraderie. I think that's the biggest thing. And my confidence has skyrocketed. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not the best at all. I'm still pretty buns, but
And also, like, you appreciate a man that you know he can fuck you up.
yeah.
Can I say bad words?
Yeah,
I guess
think
in the
it's fine.
context is fine, right?
Yeah,
Than a man that you know he wouldn't do anything ever, like even if he wanted to.
like he'd run away or push you in front of the bad guy.
He'll shoot you instead of engaging with you in
Yeah.
a fist fight.
It's really fun. But yeah, what do you think, Anass?
I completely agree with the point of the more valuable when it comes to a man is that in this scenario, if you will be respected and you should be respected in a society where they know that you're a good man and you can be dangerous at the same time whenever you can prove it. You should never just use it uselessly or effortlessly anyway. But what I'm saying is that people know they cannot fuck with you because if you do, something really bad will happen to them. And this
It's nice.
is related to respect because it shows that you're a dedicated person and person with strong ambition and feelings, and at the same time, it makes them fear you. Because fear plays also a big role. When it comes to joining this type of martial arts or this sport or hobby, at first we all get the same feelings. We're anxious, we're embarrassed, or our adrenaline just spikes. We don't know how to breathe correctly, and our mind is everywhere. We don't know how to walk properly sometimes after a round, just from the first part, because you don't know what's happening. Your instincts are everywhere. They just want to fight. Sometimes they're just covered away and just push you away because it's your natural instinct as a human, something that you don't know the capacity of. Fear is just an instinct that tells you this is dangerous. Let's get away from it. So you tend to run away. So with the time, as these friends of mine said, it is a brotherhood. That's why you develop a lot of connections with people, and you should spar with people who you trust and spend time with people with who you trust, because they will give you the step they will aid you to take a step towards improving in this category. And it's really important to have yourself first, by meaning as you need to understand who you are, and you don't understand who you are until you step into that ring, or you put on those gloves and you start actually training and you're pushing your limits. And at the end of the day, that's who you are. And it's just a lot of emotions that can keep bouncing everywhere and anywhere in your part of your brain. But that's how you learn how to control it. Looking at a black belt, for example, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, or whatever type of sport it is, if you have no knowledge of this sport, you look at that person and be like, okay, that guy's a killer. That guy, if I do something to him, he's gonna kill me. That guy's gonna murder me. He's a killer. He has no mercy, which is absolutely the opposite.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
It's crazy because
they're the friendliest.
yes, you like learning martial arts, training, and getting powerful. Those both traits they go up as parallel as they should be. Because in order for you to be a better person and a good fighter and a better fighter, you need to learn how to control it. If you cannot control your power, you cannot control who you are, you cannot control the way where you're going, so it'll just be demolished, basically.
Very much so.
Okay.
Or if not,
So, yeah. What were you gonna say?
you would just hurt someone.
Yeah. So before I get to the next section, I just want to quickly ask, because I've seen a lot of sparring videos from the times that you go sparring.
Yeah.
And one of my questions is, you guys never call like a winner.
such thing.
Yeah, you're all shaking your head.
No such thing.
So how is there no winner or no loser?
The winning is just learning. You learn your mistakes.
Because
Yeah,
like usually in like boxing and stuff, there's like a clear winner and a clear
That's the
loser.
match.
Is that because you guys don't have a referee or like what?
It's because it's sparring. Sparring is just, we're going at it, but we're not going 100%. We're trying to learn our mistakes. You go with someone that's going to remind you where you're messing up. That's why every single time, if you look at the videos, we hug each other and tell each other what we could do better next time. And then the next round, they do better.
Is that in all sparring or just with you guys?
no, I mean, sparring
Yeah, I
should
think-
be something where you are facing yourself. I mean, you cannot fight yourself, so you need someone else, and they are doing you a favor.
Mhm,
My first time sparring Kevin, I mean, I know I technically lost,
mhm.
but I won because I learned something, because I'm moving differently every single time, you know, it's like
Mhm.
This was either called it the piece of hand.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
there's no such thing
As a
winning
winner.
in sparring.
Okay. And then now I want to ask you about influences from your like earlier life, like thinking in your earlier life or other sports activities. I know, Cristobal, you mentioned this. You may have done before sparring. How do you think those past activities or experiences shaped your decision to take up sparring? Was it an easy transition, or did you feel like sparring was something new and unique compared to what you had done before?
I mean, personally, I've always loved sports. I've done tennis, volleyball, football, basketball.
Yeah.
So it was not a hard transition. I've also done martial arts before, like taekwondo, boxing, MMA.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't a crazy step. It actually made sense.
Uh-huh.
And as a Mexican and being able to look up to Canelo, for example, Canelo being
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy, arguably one of the best top boxers, top five, probably top three.
I think top
Yeah.
three.
Um,
I'm
it
thinking about
also calls you, like it's a calling, knowing that there is someone that was able to do it from such a young age and with all of the roadblocks that he had.
yeah.
It's just there's no reason to not do it.
Okay. We'll move on. And now I want to ask you about influences with past violence or experiences. Have you have this I'll ask to other people because I already know about you, Cristobal. Have you guys had any personal experiences with violence in your past, either as a witness or a participant? And how do you think that has influenced your choice of sparring as a hobby? How do you feel those experiences, if any, play a role in how you approach sparring today?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Yes. There's this one time, I won't say who, but I witnessed violence in front of me,
Okay.
and it was a man that was holding up a hammer, and he was threatening a woman,
Okay.
and I got in the middle, and I was just like, "Hey, you don't do this," just verbally said it's not okay, and then the man, he gave me like these weird pity eyes, and I knew deep in my heart he could dominate me in every way, man. He could kill me, he could hurt me. There was really nothing I could do, but I just wanted to stop it. And I think whenever I spar or do my martial arts, honestly, it's not even sparring. It's just when I do my boxing or Muay Thai, I think about that event sometimes, and I remind myself, how much stronger have I gotten? What would I be able to do differently? Did I do the best at that time? And I think that's one previous event that really inspires me. But honestly, a lot of my failures, not in just violence, but in general, has really motivated me to do this once in a while. When I think of some mistakes I've done, whether it's in school or my relationships, I like to get alone, get in a bag, and just punch, and then just think about it. Think about what I could have done better. How can I go better from this? How can I do better from next time, for next time?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you think about like,
I think you forgot to ask someone.
okay, you go ahead.
So,
Anass is speaking.
yeah, can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, do you think, have you ever experienced personal experiences with violence in your past, either as a witness or a participant? How do you think that has influenced your choice of sparring as a hobby? How do you feel those experiences, if any, play a role in how you approach sparring today?
Deep spot.
Yeah.
That had a deep spot. Yeah. So every single one of us
Yeah.
have been bullied before.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I forgot about that.
yeah, and what basically during that situation, you're just hopeless sometimes.
Uh-huh,
You can't
definitely.
do anything. Sometimes you're in a different system than America,
Yeah.
where you can't literally do anything about it, unless if you're actually like strong enough to deal with it, or else you can't.
I don't think, sorry to interrupt, but I don't feel like violence is the answer to being bullied. But
No,
No,
but I
let him
think,
finish.
so what do you mean by sometimes you're not
what do you mean? Sometimes-
strong enough to do anything about it?
Yes. So violence is never the answer. But at some point, when you get bullied, it just sticks with your head,
Mhm.
right? So you're either gonna go report it or deal with it, talk to the person.
Mhm.
There's many
Mhm,
methods how to deal with it. From my point of view, my perspective is that using those negative emotions, so-called, I tend to transform them to a positive emotions into my own advantage.
Mhm.
Meaning that sometimes when I'm sparring, not when I'm sparring, but when I'm training by myself, or I'm training or I'm pushing myself,
Mhm.
I force myself to remember those instincts.
Mhm.
Why? Because it's such a deep and strong emotion that it has a lot of power and value that will be used
Mhm.
for fuel.
Mhm.
But when it comes to sparring, of course, I'm not remember these thoughts and
Mhm.
Like beat
exactly
Keven,
like I'm beating someone else. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, I'm pulling that my bully's face on his face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just do that.
Yeah.
Because that's just immature. That's not the point of martial arts anyway. But you tend to use that violence just to remind yourself that first of all, you're doing a good choice by not acting on that violence.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it always stays up with you. It's a normal feeling
Mhm.
to get bullied. But what is not normal is to stay with it.
Mhm.
So you tend to use that violence, not violent, but you tend to use that
As fuel.
as fuel to
Yeah.
fuel yourself
Yeah.
towards the next goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Did it shape the way you viewed so you agree that it shaped the way you view martial arts?
Yeah, in some way, yes. It viewed the shape how I see martial arts.
Like how you channel and control aggression or other feelings?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you'd all agree?
I think so.
Yeah.
Cristobal?
I should agree.
I haven't experienced that yet. I don't have much aggression in me, so I don't tend to.
You
I
probably
think
have-
Keven has noticed that whenever I spar, I really don't like hitting people anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
no.
it's kind of I have to push myself in order to break that barrier.
I get
But
it.
I probably as any man has in the past, I've had the fantasy of killing someone that harmed me in some way. Probably not kill him in the actual way, but like
I never admit to those thoughts. That's one crazy word.
but have you
Punch,
felt
yes,
it?
punch,
Have you
yes.
felt it? No, like beat the hell out of someone, beat the soul out of someone.
Yeah, it's normal,
Yeah, there's some people.
But that's when the training comes in. The lesson learned from your master and from your coach,
I learned
Okay.
I learned that from Jesus before from my time.
Okay.
Master.
So now I'd like to ask about feelings of injuring someone during sparring.
Love
So
it, no. Okay.
I feel terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
so
it depends.
this is
I'm sure.
so sparring is a contact sport, and while everyone aims to avoid injuries, they can still happen. Can you share a time when you've been concerned about injuring someone during sparring, and how did that situation make you feel?
Yeah, I think for me it was Rafa. I don't think I want to say the story out loud. So I'm gonna say it was someone else named Jorge, right? Me and Jorge were sparring. Jorge is like a really good guy that I love to spar with, but unfortunately, sometimes he's a silly goose because I tell him to put his hands up, and he doesn't put his hands up. He has one hand up. You think he's fucking Floyd Mayweather? He's Floyd Mayweather. And so then I hit him 2 times in the nose,
Okay,
and
wait.
his nose started leaking.
Before you explain this. What's wrong with putting your hands up?
Well, there's nothing wrong with this. This is a form of style. This is called the Philly shell. But the issue
Isn't
is,
that defense?
it is defense, but you need to really practice it. And we're in MMA, so it's a lot more harder to practice it.
Uh-huh.
And this guy doesn't really practice it much unless he's sparring.
Okay.
And the issue is when he's in a corner,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when he's at his weakest.
Okay.
When he's not in the corner, he's moving around, it always gets me because then he just pops me.
Okay.
And the fact that I'm shorter too. But he was in the corner and this was me. One, okay, duck to the side. Two, okay, put your hands. He's not putting his hands up. Another one. Okay, you're not having your hands up. Please put your hands up. Roll again. Hit the head.
Okay.
And then his nose started bleeding and I felt horrible. But as well, I was also frustrated. Not because I hurt him, because as well, he didn't listen. That I said, put your hands up. At least for me in sparring, I like to remind the opponent, if they mess up, if I keep hitting them at the same place multiple times and I tell them you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why
Okay.
I feel bad.
So, do you have a story to share, Anass?
Yes.
Omar.
Stop saying names, bro.
Oh, snickerdoodles.
It's a snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodles.
Oh, okay.
The cookie.
Okay. Let's see.
So, okay, so when it comes to hurting people, no, that's not my first, that's my last intention, last thought behind
Remember when you
my
made me?
head.
Yeah, okay, so it's your last intention. We've
Yes.
cleared that.
Uh-huh.
But what do you feel when it happened? Like,
Well, it
obviously
depends. It
okay,
depends,
okay.
because sometimes if you do it by accident and you're in the mood, you're not in the mood, but
Because
you're.
it is a contact sport in the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're in what we call a state flow. A state flow is basically when your body, you stop using your brain. It's literally you go with the flow and the motion, which basically means this your body and muscles just reacting in whatever position you're in. So obviously it means that you don't do it purposefully, but what you feel is that if you don't do it by purpose, of course, I feel bad, I apologize, I'm sorry, because I wouldn't want that thing to happen to me. I mean, I've been injured so many times. Shoulder, both of my knees, my leg, my lower back, I almost snapped my spine, my pieces, you know? My jaw, I almost cracked my jaw, my neck as well. So on the other side, this is where the control comes in a black belt type of control. Basically, it's when I see you going up in a notch, or you're being way too aggressive, you're exercising too hard, I cannot match it, so I need to put you down at your place. This is where a lot of new fighters or new beginners, they tend to mistake power with ego. Their ego comes in. So they think I'm the best, and I need an announce, so they keep fighting hard. But you have sometimes to remind them at their place, or else one of us will get hurt. You know? So, yes. That's it.
So can you give us an example of a time where this has happened? And what is the reaction or what happened?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna say names, but one
X?
X.
Just okay.
Yeah.
Say X.
X. This guy's name is X. We're sparring, and I see this guy is first round, he's being like pushy. He's pushy. So what I do is I throw like small combinations at him, but not too powerful, just soft. And he gets angry because he's getting touched to the nose, to the face. He swings so fast that I back off. I'm like, okay, if that hit me, I would have been knocked out. He does it the second time. I'm like, whoa. And then he's moving everywhere. So
Did you talk to him and say like, calm down?
Yes, of course. I was like, yo, you need to chill out.
Yeah.
You're going too fast. Chill out.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just having fun. No need to be, you don't need to prove yourself.
And did you explain him the rules of sparring before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because he was more familiar with boxing.
Okay.
So what I ended up doing, he went inside to my guard, and he was moving everywhere. So what I did was I jumped, and I almost kneed him to the face, you know, but I did not knee him. I showed him that I could knee him to the face.
Okay.
And then he backed off. That's when he knew that if he keeps going that way, he will get hurt eventually.
Okay.
You know, and after that, I explained to him, I was like, look, this is what will happen if you keep doing this. if you still continue after I showed you this move, I'm leaving,
Yeah.
okay? Because it's not worth it for me to get hurt and you get hurt, so
Yeah.
I'll leave. And he
Okay.
definitely understood
He
the
definitely did.
lesson.
And then
Yeah.
he got your ass next time.
That was never the case, actually.
Yeah, Omar.
Okay.
Yes, Yes.
How do you prepare mentally and emotionally when you know you're sparring with someone more experienced or with a different fight style?
I get scared. Yeah, really.
You get scared.
Like if I'm like in an intermediate class with the fucking rookie, yeah, clearly.
yeah.
But before then, let's say it was Baba or fucking Jones. Usually I get a bit nervous, but then I just remember we're here to learn. So I just remind myself, this isn't a fight. Do what you learned. Talk to them. Because they're always sweet about it. Just say, hey, my name is Kevin. What's your name? Oh, my name is Baba. Okay, well, I'm a bit new. This is my 3rd month, 4th month, 5th month. We could just go light and just try to remember the combos. And then that's what I do.
It's so true. The fact that 95% of people in the gyms, they're all nice. They when it comes to skill,
I need you to
they're killers. But they're so nice.
Mhm.
Like for me, when I'm sparring with someone new first time, hey, what's your name?
Or more experienced.
Yeah, they're more experienced by
Yeah.
like years, you know?
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
They do.
Hey, what's your name? Oh, I'm new. Where you from? You know, just small talk. You
Yeah.
know, so you get more familiarized, more friendlier.
So
with the
you
person.
you can spar with someone you don't know. That's normal.
Yes.
It's normal, but I'm more cautious, more
Yeah.
than ever when it comes
I should-
to someone than for example, let's say Keven. If I'm sparring with Keven, I know how he moves.
Yeah.
So
But you never learn anything new.
from him,
Yeah.
sparring with Keven,
Yeah.
I improve my strikes. Yeah. There's
You-
always
I wish he's been coming recently. We would have learned a lot more.
Do you guys learn? Do both of you learn new things?
Yes. I learned how to move. I learned how to get into angles because I would just go in straight, or if not, I would go to his power shot and he could just hurt me.
And Cristobal, how did you feel the first time you went sparring? Like you weren't experienced, you weren't anything. Like how did you feel?
It was great. I wanted to get punched.
Okay, you already said that, but were you not like worried? Were you not like no fear, no nothing?
There's of course, an undertone of anxiety because you're gonna get punched in the face.
And even then with the new people like Angel and John, remember those two?
Yeah, Angel made me bleed.
Okay, after you got punched, you didn't.
It doesn't hurt.
You shouldn't be scared of that.
It's just what's
normal.
what are you gonna do about it? Cry?
Because honestly, I was about to go sparring.
Uh-huh.
I had like you said,
I invited you.
And I
Yeah,
wanted
you
to see it.
invited
I
me.
wanted to see it.
you invited me, and
And you
Kevin
got-
said I couldn't come.
No, you couldn't.
She couldn't.
Yeah,
She needed a fight. She needed to spar someone.
yeah. Kevin said I needed to spar. I couldn't just come.
Because then you would make fun of us.
I wouldn't make fun.
You don't understand how this goes. It's such okay, and I'm gonna tell them you don't understand sparring. That's why you're asking these questions.
Okay, well, no, I do understand sparring. I did a lot of research actually.
Now you have, yes.
Yeah.
We're-
So anyway, I felt very scared about getting hit, for sure. Like that was the thing that hurt me most. And then I practiced sparring with someone, Rafa, and I was gonna fight with a girl who was much bigger than me and stronger than me. Yeah. And I had a high ego actually in the beginning. And I don't think it was a fair fight because she was actually much bigger. So then,
And I've trained her longer than you
yeah,
for a month.
she was training longer than me. So I after my first sparring session, I said, you know what? I can't do this. I give up on the fight. Because
Well, when you're a man,
yeah,
You
that's
cannot-
being a bitch.
Yes, and you cannot do that.
I mean, it's fine. You were scared. I get it.
Okay,
Yeah.
probably every sport that you give up on, you're gonna be a little bit ashamed.
yeah,
Any sport.
yeah,
But for example, I left football for tennis. I left tennis because I got injured and couldn't use
yeah,
the specific things that I had, the joints that I had to use. But then fighting, probably the first thought in anyone's head when you tell them that you quit fighting is that you're a little bitch.
No,
Probably, honestly.
but honestly, she like Rafa trained me really well, like how she was gonna like probably hit me. He did. He punched me hard in the stomach.
Okay.
He was like tapping me in the face and stuff, and all this like he was doing it like lightly in the beginning, and I already couldn't take it. Like he had punched me in the stomach, he had punched me in the face, and he was trying to like teach me
Yeah.
defense.
You should get a man to defend you.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
Listen,
So I couldn't take it, and I really think this is a really rough sport.
I think you should have started by going to class instead of first trying to spar.
Yes.
What do you mean by going to class?
Going to a class with a teacher telling you how to punch first before anyone lets you in the ring. Instead, we wanted to throw you in. So that's what was really
With a
scary.
much
Just
more
to get
experienced.
slaughtered.
Threw her in.
It's not even-
Yeah,
Dude, I was teaching her the
I-
nastiest combos, bro. I was telling her an overhand, two uppercut, then a jab roll.
Yeah.
It was nice.
and I'd say she's about 50 pounds heavier than me.
It don't matter about weight.
It doesn't matter.
It really don't.
That's fine. Well,
Well, in sparring, it doesn't.
Yeah.
okay.
In a real match, yeah,
Okay,
no, that matters.
Okay, let's take for instance me. I'm like what? 230, 240.
Yo, be honest, that kid was like 200.
Also,
I'm like one of the tallest in the gym. I'm
Yeah.
one of the tallest guys in the gym.
Yes.
The second I step into the gym and I see someone taller than me, I'm like, how am I fighting this guy? Hey, yo, I'm not used to this, you know? So I faced something completely new. So I was like, you know what? Let's try this. I'm getting fucking rocked, bro.
Yeah, man.
And that
It
that
stings.
being rocked continued for like what? 3-4
yeah.
months.
Ooh.
3-4 months, bro. Until recently, bro, I started to go in. I'm changing my tactics. You know, I'm diving in more. I know I'm getting punched, but who cares?
Yeah, bite the
As long as I'm landing one, I'm winning points.
also though, to further like explain the difference between men and women,
Yeah.
women tend to be less willing to make paces. How do you say? Like make up after they engaged in
Yeah,
combat.
that's fair. No, they keep the grudge. Yeah. You definitely with that woman, you made it personal. Very much so.
Let's not.
I've never made it personal with
No, I did
even
not
with
make
you,
it
there was
personal.
times I was
Okay,
just
anyway,
like you.
let's move on.
There's just-
Let's move
Oh,
on.
It's
to the
always
next-
exactly like even though I might have a little grudge from things you did 2 years ago to me, like I still love you and I
I
forgot.
didn't make it personal. We're fine right now.
Yeah, bet you
Anyway, let's talk about violence in martial arts and philosophy. How much of martial arts philosophy, such as respect and discipline, influences how you, that's what we're kind of talking about right now,
Yeah.
view and approach violence in sparring? Is there a clear distinction between the aggression used in sparring versus the aggression that could lead to harmful violence outside of training?
Yes, there is a difference. A gym is different than the outside.
Yeah.
By
Has it
far.
ever gotten,
Sideways?
Have the lines ever
have
been
the
blurred?
lines ever crossed? Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
I'll
I
speak
think-
for myself. Well, number one, of course not. I mean, a fight outside is different from a fight in a gym. Because fight outside, I'm gonna use everything. I'm gonna use this water, splash your eyes, hit you in every area.
Yeah, but has a fight in the gym ever led to a fight outside? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a personal grudge came outside.
Yeah.
Never.
Hmm.
Worst comes to worst, you shit talk them, but then they laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it.
Unless you're in a mafia gang or whatever, you're doing shady business, you're getting stabbed the next night in the street. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
never. It's
Never.
nice that never happens. You have a
Yeah.
problem, you go to the ring, after
And
you
you
talk it
said-
off,
Yeah.
you go to the locker room, you talk it off even more.
Yeah,
Then you're friends, you're sharing pizza downstairs.
yeah.
Worst comes to worst for me, right? There's this guy named Baba. He would beat my ass relentlessly for 2 months straight, and I hated him. Yeah, like I started getting so upset outside the gym. I was like, man, I hate Baba. Every time I see him, I'll be like, what's up, Baba? Like I'm cool with Baba, cause hey, I'm gonna get back here. I'm gonna put on my gloves, and we're gonna scrap again.
Yeah.
Like, it's never gonna stop. So there was never any like personal hatred. I don't know anyone that I work out with that doesn't.
Even when you're hatred between someone else, at the end of the day, you gain more respect for each other.
You do.
Because you respected that guy. You had a problem with him and you confronted him at the gym, so you finish it off like
What do you think is the like I'm just trying to understand
Yeah.
what does the gym have to do? Like, what is the fighting in the gym versus fighting outside? I don't understand that.
Fighting outside, it's by any means. I don't want to fight you. I want to kill you.
Yeah.
What?
I want to kill you. You fight someone outside. Like if I'm angry with Anass right now and we fight, I'm not fighting him. I want to kill him. Like there's no fighting. There's no clear winner or loser. The winner is the one on the floor that can't be conscious.
That's a different mentality.
Yeah, it's different.
It's either kill or be killed.
Yeah, exactly. Outside the
Well,
gym.
do you agree with this?
Like if me and you start fighting, how do we stop?
De-escalation.
No, no, but let's say that wasn't an option. How do we stop? Till one of us is on the floor that can't move.
It's complete dominance.
It
As
is,
again,
unfortunately.
as a Christian,
Of course,
Oh.
we don't
Can we
want
hear
that.
no, can we hear about this?
for myself, I guess unless untapped violence, really primal violence comes to the surface, I will try not to engage.
Of course, of
Mhm.
course. But like, again, that's the difference between outside violence and in the gym, because it's a more controlled environment.
Okay, what if you had an outside gym problem and you decided, hey, instead of fighting it outside the gym, let's take it into the gym. You know,
Yeah.
like you're at a bar
Yeah.
and you're like, let's take it outside. Instead of saying, let's take it outside, can you say, hey, let's deal with this in the gym tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I
Can
Can that happen?
I've never had that.
I love that, you
I
know?
wish that could happen in a perfect world, but unfortunately, if there's hatred or not a lot of heat,
Yeah.
they won't be as controlled. But if they are that controlled, then
And
Yeah.
as has
it's
that
perfect.
can
I mean, I wish it happened, but it never.
yeah.
In
Yeah.
Mexico, it's quite usual to, if you have boxing gloves, or if someone you know has boxing gloves, it's normal to settle it. Not literally in the ring, but you just put on the gloves and then you settle it like that.
That
Probably, most likely someone's gonna get knocked out, but at least at least it is done
control.
in a better.
Well, you got your gloves on. You know, there's no me grabbing a knife or anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Or we can go the sleeping tactics, you know? You go learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
What?
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
sleeping
you,
Fair.
instead of knocking someone out or breaking their teeth, nosebleed, concussion,
Can make
etc.,
them tap
etc.,
out too.
all what you can do is learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
Yeah.
like I did. And instead of hitting someone, you control him. You basically submit him in a way of like they can't move their feet or their legs, and you just tell him to calm down until he does. Or if he cannot, if he's agitated, you can just literally make him go to sleep by just choking him, you know?
It's crazy. Like jiu-jitsu is the best for self-defense.
Yes, it's the best for
it really
self-defense,
is.
basically.
Okay.
Like I've
And it
had
happened to me once because I remember it's
Someone.
yeah, someone X, a Y. No, in this case, a Y.
his name starts with a G, doesn't it?
A Y comes in and he's being insanely annoying. Like, let's do this, let's go out. No, no, no. I was like, bro, no, I need to work to get done. No, 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 no. And he gets physical with me. He's like grabbing me by the hoodie, on the knee. I'm like, yo, touch me one more time. I'm done. Like, I need to get work done. Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of me standing up and punching him in the face, all what I did was I took his back, you know, and I choked him,
Good night.
you know, and he just
Let's move away from this conversation.
crazy.
no, but the thing is like no one was harmed.
Yeah, but let's move
You
away
know?
from this conversation. I have
That's
another question quickly.
Huh?
Did any of you previously have anger issues or behavioral issues growing up?
Testosterone.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Me no. It's starting to.
Yeah, all right, bro.
When I was young, when I was a kid, no.
Like
But-
In your teen
freshman
years,
year and
like before starting martial arts.
Well, that's the thing. Like when it comes to martial arts, as a man,
sorry, I wanted to put my foot up. So
as a man, you have something called testosterone. Okay?
Yeah.
You're just, it doesn't mix you, it amplifies your emotions basically.
Yeah.
You know? So instead of just getting that energy out of people, you go to the gym and you live it up. And in my case, like what, 3-4 years ago, I used to go to the gym, lift weights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yes, you tend to get aggressive, not aggressive, but territorial,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because that's what testosterone does to you. Any other
Yeah,
examples?
they would wake me, whenever someone would wake me up aggressively, I would punch them.
I was very aggressive as a teenager, so I got into working out.
Do you think that sparring has helped you manage your anger or frustration better in areas of your life? If so, how?
Yes,
How?
it's made it a lot more easier to have self-control with certain people and activities that they consistently do.
So do you think it's gone away?
No.
Yeah.
But I repress it.
Okay.
And I just think of someone's face at the gym. I'll be like, Tanya, I think no,
Fine,
no,
fine.
no, but yeah. For anything, I just let it go and I get happy.
Okay, that's good. And
I
you?
haven't gotten to that point yet.
Okay.
Happy part.
He
Having
hasn't
to
gotten to that point yet.
yeah, having to contain my anger and then letting it out at the sparring session or
Oh, fair.
Yeah. Yeah, works for me.
It works for you?
Yeah, every time.
That's great. And now, how do you feel about sparring in relation to real life violent encounters? Do you believe sparring helps you deal with real world aggression or conflict, or do you think the two areas are separate?
Definitely separate. One is a controlled environment and the other one isn't. If someone has a knife, I'm giving them what he wants. If someone has a gun, I'm giving them what they want, But for anything, it makes me realize how to control the situation and not let my ego make a irrational decision.
and I mean, but if I wanted to, if I was getting ready for actual fights and I knew that danger was imminent or really proximate, then I would probably have to get into an actual fight in the ring still. But sparring, even though that's gonna show you technical skill, it's not gonna help probably much in actually being able to properly engage in an actual fight.
Well, that's the point of sparring. You learn how to spar to see things coming up your way. You know, my mom used to tell me, stop going. Why do you keep hurting yourself? Why do you always come back with bruises? I'm like, Mom, it's because if I don't want to wait till the day something bad happens, then I need to go teach myself how to. I want to see it coming from a mile away. I need to be prepared for it. So I know how to deal with it in many situations as possible.
Yeah.
First thing first, escalate it, and just leave it to be.
Yeah, I mean though that sparring is still practice.
Sure.
An actual like 3 rounds or whatever, how many rounds you want to do. I mean, until you get the real deal, then you're gonna know how good you are,
True.
probably.
That's why you need to implement yourself and put yourself in those stressful situations.
Yeah. It's sparring with someone better than you. It's obviously way better.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think sparring for personal growth is more important than sparring for recognition or competition? Why or why not?
Yes, of course.
Wait, you didn't answer the question.
No, but the
Do you
first
think
part,
sparring for personal growth is more important than sparring for recognition? Why or why not?
and I said yes.
Yeah.
So
Personal growth is definitely more important.
Mhm. Why? Because, well, I mean that's probably
Isn't
another
it also
conversation, but
important to track your achievements?
measuring them against yourself, yes. I tend to not. It's not a good. It's a trap to track your achievements and comparing them to other person's achievements. You want to be better than the person that you were tomorrow, not to try to be necessarily better than, okay, if I try to measure myself up against Canelo since now, how am I ever gonna like surpass that?
Does anyone have a different take?
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
Indeed.
And what aspects of sparring brings you the most satisfaction? Like, do you feel more motivated by personal achievements, winning matches, or the ability to help others improve?
Taste of my blood.
To growing myself. Like, that's why I get so excited. Because yes, there are new people like Johan and Saba that are new, but Johan's a lot more taller than me and he's a lot more calmer with range, and therefore it gives me ideas on how to enter. And I'm more proud of myself to figuring out those ideas, or if not proud, where I've been messing up and being aware of it. I'm more proud of my own personal growth than really beating anyone. I think beating anyone, I don't really like. It's just cooler to see where I've been growing.
I would have thought like you would have said like to help others improve.
I mean, yeah, it's cool, but the only way you can help others is by sparring and for myself to grow. The
Okay.
more I grow, the more other people will grow around me.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it's if I stayed the same level in sparring, I don't think Cristobal would have learned much. Anass would have kept punching me and he would have not learned much.
Mm-hmm.
Until I start punching Anass, that means Anass is gonna learn now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I came in, we realized that, for example, I have better technical kicks because I did taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
They hurt.
And that obviously could bring forth more motivation for other people. I mean, again, as Kevin said, every time you spar, you learn something and the other person learns something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously like really nice of Kevin, for example, because I haven't done it, but to take someone and trying to actually teach them while you're sparring.
It's really cool.
And I haven't had the pleasure yet, but of course it's something important. But if we go back to why the entire reason why we do this, it's because of personal growth.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna move on because we don't have a lot of time left. But how do you maintain respect for your opponent during sparring? And what does respect in sparring match look like to you? Is it about maintaining control, awareness, or something else?
Well, for me, it depends. It definitely matters if it's someone new. It's control, like touching them, tell them, hey, here to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Setting the standards. If it's on Sunday, then it's just by growth and like seeing where we could learn. And sometimes, I mean, personally, I let it out. Like with Sebastian, I'm like, hey, 10 seconds, punch me as hard as you can. Let's go. Let's see what we can do. That was really nice. There was not a lot of growth there, but I just let out a lot. And that was a lot of trust. That required a lot of
That's how
trust.
you remain. That's how you maintain respect.
Yeah, I think I gain a lot more respect for that because you've got to control your punch. Or the other person has to control their punches, and that's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
I agree with Kevin.
Yeah.
Nobody likes an unhinged man.
Yeah.
Nobody.
But how did Kevin? Can I go back to how you got your concussion?
Yeah.
Like, how did you not lose respect or want to
I
fight?
lost respect for that guy
You lost respect.
for sure.
And how did you not like take the fight out or like go crazy on him or fight him or
What
punch
would
him in the face?
What would I gain from it? It's too late. The whole point was to learn, and I lost. I can't learn anymore.
Like he did an illegal move on you.
Yeah, he did.
So like, how did you not like go crazy on him or let your aggression out?
Because I don't gain anything from it. What do I gain? Temporary satisfaction. It's not worth it. I wanted to learn. I got in there, proud of myself, learning that I'm rolling while this guy's swinging. I was waiting for the round to be over so I could remind him to throw jabs. Stop just throwing 1 or 2 hooks. Like you're not doing anything.
Who was more
Throw these jabs.
experienced?
Me.
You were.
1,000%. Like that guy, literally, all he was doing was this, waiting, and this was me just going around. 1, 2, ooh, 1, 2, ooh, and then just moving around. He was just staying still.
But if you were more experienced, how did he hit like gain?
Roll. While I was rolling right down here, I had my hands right here. He was trying to do this. You see this?
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
So while I was going down and rolling, he did that.
Yeah.
And he hit me right here.
Yeah.
That's it. It was one fatal mistake. I should have realized that he was so new. I should have just stayed still, just stand and bang. But I thought he wasn't.
I mean, you don't want to hit someone there. That's a really
It's a no-no, man.
dangerous spot.
You should get my leg back.
So how do you balance aggression with understanding the goal is to improve and not hurt the other person? Is there ever a time when one outweighs the other in your mind? How do you handle situations where you're unsure if you're being too aggressive? Anass, can you answer this question?
Ouch. Aimed for Anass specifically.
I mean, honestly, if someone deserves it, he deserves it, you know? But at the end of the day, we're all here to learn. So what I'm trying to say is, how do I personally balance it? Of course, if I did something wrong, no matter what other people say it was right, even though that person deserved it, if I did something wrong, of course I'm gonna punish myself by saying that it's completely not right to do so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel bad about it.
Yeah.
That person, I should see him as my brother or someone that I trust, you know, someone who's close to myself. But at the end of the day, we're here to learn, we're here to play, if someone when you step into that ring, you already have you acknowledge the fact that one of you is gonna get hurt, even though none wants to hurt each other.
Yeah.
The other party. But yeah, basically just that.
Would you have done anything differently in Kevin's situation?
I mean, Kevin, he did the right thing by not stepping in and creating a big fuss.
Yeah.
And I believe he learned a huge lesson by never sparring with that person ever in his life.
Even then.
Because even, John Jones is the GOAT, greatest of all time MMA
Yeah.
champion of the world. He sparred once with someone new, and he was hitting hard, and he saw it coming, and he was like, yo, bro, chill. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for sparring with me, but I'll never spar with you again.
Yeah.
The reason why he did that, he just to protect himself and his brain.
Yeah.
Kevin did the right thing. He made a mistake,
Yeah.
but he after corrected himself by not engaging again with the same person.
Did this man apologize?
Yeah, profusely,
Yeah.
multiple times. He did 7 apologies before we continued. He didn't want to do that.
What would you have wanted if this has happened to you? Is an apology enough?
Money.
I mean, yeah, money
I
sure.
should have fucking asked for
Money? Why money?
For the
Dude, I had
doctor.
to go to the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to the doctors.
Yeah.
I paid for that shit. I wasn't much, but
Honestly, if it was me, I would have done what as I said before, never spar with that person again.
Yeah.
Maybe I might give him a shot if he's the last person to spar with in the gym.
No.
But
You would
yeah,
have hit
of
him?
course. So yeah, sorry.
You would have hit him by giving him a shot. You meant like hit him?
No. By giving him a shot means sparring again with him. So maybe let's say.
So what do you mean by saying you would have never?
like he would have picked anyone else. He would have picked you before him.
Yeah. I
Okay,
would've
but
picked
then
you
what do you
before.
mean by giving him a shot?
By giving him a shot means.
That's two
Sparring.
contradictory
No.
things.
What I mean, a shot means another chance sparring with him.
Yeah.
Another try to spar with
Sparring-
each other.
sparring.
To train with each other.
He said
Okay.
maybe if he was the last person in the gym.
Yes,
Okay.
But if I feel like that person was a complete egoistic person, it is my duty to step in and put him to his place, but not in a way not all the time to punish him in a way I could hit him, but I'll talk to him, I'll have to talk to my coach, There's many other ways how to deal with this situation.
And what role does humility play in sparring? Can you recall a situation where sparring with someone taught you an important lesson about respect or humility?
Yes, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is arguably not hard, but it is actually the hardest sport to learn because there's no easy ways to learn from. There's no stepping or jumping over the lessons to learn. No, the longer you roll on the mat, the more hours you spend, the better you get, the more experience you get. When I step in, I remember the first 3-4 months, every time I stepped into that place and on the mat, I left my ego back home, like under my blanket, literally, because I know every day I will get humiliated, and that's when you learn from it. You get humbled, basically.
You played tennis?
Tennis? No. The same thing?
I mean, when you have to play with a single ball and then you make it fly away and then you have to go get it and then you cannot play with someone else. Yeah, that's
Okay, I'm
really
gonna ask one of you, do you guys have a favorite move or strategy that works best for you during sparring? What makes it effective in your style and why is it a go-to technique?
It's called a gun.
Can you show me what the gun is? No, I'm being serious, guys. This is a serious.
You fell in the trap as your fault.
Yeah, I mean a slip, a roll.
What is a slip and what is a roll?
It's should I show it on camera?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so I'll do it while standing up, It's hopefully my head doesn't explode, but imagine you're about to fight, right?
Yeah.
So let's say I could see he's throwing a 1-2, so 1-2, right?
Yeah.
I see the 1 parry, right? With the 2, I could slip where I'm inside his system or inside his spot.
Yeah.
And I can see his liver. Then I could go under.
Okay.
Right? And then a roll, is I could see he's throwing really fast. So what I'm gonna do is go from left to right as a circle, or
That's what you were doing.
yeah.
And that's how you got, yeah. Okay. So that's not very,
I knew it was coming, bro.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
okay.
Again, he was a new guy.
Yeah, okay.
So
The fuck else I should. So that's your favorite. Is that your favorite?
it is one.
It's your favorite. So that's what had happened.
You know
And
what's my favorite one?
yeah,
I love this technique. You basically, all you do, you put your hands up, you get defensive, you just let them wobble. Keep hitting you, just block. He hits you, block. And by the end of the rounds, he gets exhausted. And now you'd be like, oh, you're tired right now. Now we're gonna fight, you know? That's my favorite technique.
That
I
works.
think-
I've
on
never
the
seen
biggest
it
guy.
to one. I should have done it to the new guy, honestly.
Yeah.
Well,
I
And
didn't know,
Crystal,
bro.
what technique did you use when you were?
not like just a sidekick. I think that's like.
Can you
That
show
was
us your
cool.
sidekick?
Yeah.
Can you show us your sidekick?
You wanna use my leg as an example?
Can you show us your sparring? Can you guys show us a one like a scenario?
Scenario?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
What scenario?
like just a quick jab, 1-2, and a block and a defense.
Okay.
Oh, I have a knife. Oh,
No, not a knife, like a jab.
Oh, I have a hand.
Let me show how rough it is.
Oh.
That's how rough it is.
And then if I want to kick him, like if we're close, maybe I can just push him and then I go like, boom.
Okay,
And then at that moment, you know what I do?
what?
Show him the tip.
The
I
team-
love the tip.
I
It's
need to get better
basically
too.
you push him with your leg, and
Yeah.
it just makes you create space between you and
Yeah, so.
What is that?
So imagine someone's getting close, right? Okay,
slowly.
sorry, these pants are, I'll go again. So go all the way up, right? And then once your leg is right here, you extend it. So it's,
Okay,
so it's like in one motion. This.
okay, you should sit down
It's-
because you're concussed.
I'm glad you
And you're
realized.
looking dizzy.
I am.
Okay, I'd like to thank you guys so much for participating in my interview and my focus group. You guys were amazing. Thank you, Anass. Thank you, Cristobal. Thank you, Keven. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Lingango, lingo, lingo, lingo.
Guys.